All right, today I'm going to go through our Spanish resources. So we use Simply Spanish this year, Charlotte Mason, Simple Languages, and they have Simple Spanish. And they have done pre-recorded classes that are great, hands down. You get a sheet that has links to their Canva video recordings, and then they have links to your stuff that you will get. So you get a student binder that I just put in my kids binder with the song for the term, for the couple songs for the term, for their poem. You can see the pictures and stuff. And then they have a book that they wrote that kind of goes over vocabulary, and they work on that with the kids. And then they also have a book from like a fairy tale is what we've normally read with them. And those go over more vocabulary and stuff as well. And then they give you little, ¿Dónde está el lobo? And then you have all your little people out or whatever, and they do those. And then they have a game that you play with clothing items, and this helps them learn colors and clothing terms, vocabulary. So that is the students' pieces that they will use for during the lessons. And then on top of it, I didn't print this one out in color because it's for me, they have the teacher references. And in the teacher references, they have the full song, lyrics in English and Spanish, and then where you can listen to the songs outside of lesson time so that you can keep practicing it. And then they have the same for the poems, and they have like how you play the game with the clothes, like the different words they would use, buenas tardes, and like some of the common statements, okay? And then they also have a translation of the book that they wrote in there. Not the Little Red Riding Hood one, but the Amelia one. So that is Simple Languages, and they have live classes for, I think it's 1st through 5th, class 1 through 5 is how I should say that. And that has been, we are in class 2. We had used Simple Languages 1, the premiere version, and it's audio files that you can scan and then play. But this one is a video file that you're going to watch. And so she is talking the whole time. The kids are answering. She's teaching them on the screen. It is a class that they are attending. Okay, a couple other things that we use alongside of that is Speaking Spanish with Miss Mason and Francois. Everyone always says this, who does a video on this, we are going through this very slowly. We are only on series number 11, series 11. And so we've been working our way through this since the beginning of the year, and on series 11. There is so much on these that the real takeaway, I think, from this is a little bit of the correct verb tenses and stuff like that. But if you don't know, like, how to respond, there are response questions, but if you don't know how to answer them, your student's probably not going to know how to answer them. So I would at least figure out, how would I answer this before I give this question to my child. As a non-Spanish speaker, this has been a little bit of a learning curve for some of the things, like, you can do the listen to me, watch me, repeat after me, but then, like, what do you want to do? What colors do you use in your picture? So, and then just keeping the answer simple and recognizing they need to be simple. But this has been this has been good for vocabulary building as well. And so along with that, we have done De Colores. This has just been a folk songs that we've done. Simple Spanish has songs like this already in theirs, so I don't always use that, but when I was putting together more of my own songs that we're going to do and stuff like that, I pulled from that. But it is nice to just pull those as I want them. Llamitas has some folk songs too, like Little Kids, like Old MacDonald, for Spanish songs that they have, like common, little kid songs. Llamitas has a YouTube channel that plays those, and so sometimes we'll sing those too. And then another one that we've used is First Thousand Words, and so we'll use this to say, like, I want to say this word, and so I might pull this out and say, okay, well, what words, what is that word, if we can find it in here, which is not always the case, but we will also go through and like look at a page and then go into a room, say like the kitchen, and they have all sorts of kitchen items around the outside here. And then they have where you can look this up online, and it has the pronunciation for all of that as well. So we've used that from time to time. And the last thing I really use, I think I have more stuff than this, but this is the stuff we've kind of picked and chose from, right? Like the 1,000 words for vocab, this for vocab, just trying to build the frequency of which we're using. Is I was given this by a friend, and it is the Great 8, which kind of reminds me of Talkbox Mom from what I've heard of Talkbox Mom without actually doing it. But this has this is what we've mainly been using, is this part, and this is the language laptop, and you can see it's got pictures of the different items. And so I'll say what is this, and then it's got the pronunciation here, like this is how you say it, and here's the Spanish word and the English word. And so you can go through and ask, and then you might say, like, if you're checking, ¿Dónde está tostada? And aquí, not fluent, doing my best though. So at least it will give them a basic something to start from if they ever pursue it more seriously. We'll go from there. But currently, this is what we're using. I believe it is recommended to start the ULAT or ULAT. I don't know. I always call it ULAT. Some people pronounce it other ways. But that program, I believe, is recommended for around 4th grade. And so not this year, but the following year, we will probably switch to that. Maybe, maybe not, depending on how the simple languages keeps going and the trajectory that we're taking with that. If that's continuing to work and progressing them along, we might just continue with that. But I have heard very good things about ULAT. So that is a top choice for me in the back of my mind for the future. But like I said, for little kids, songs, poems, play, learning like all sorts of stories and hearing like the language from a native speaker, the Spanish classes through the pre-recorded Spanish classes were worth the money. It was $120 per class, but they were having a buy one get one sale. And so we bought year 2 and year 3 because that would be up through the year a ULAT program would start if we want to go that route versus continuing with the simple languages. So, but we have really enjoyed simple languages, and so I will keep my eyes on that and see at the end of next year, once we've wrapped up 3, do we want to keep going with 4 or do we want to go the other way? And so time will tell. But for right now, these are kind of the resources that I use and that I have been enjoying to slowly learn myself and to help teach my kids. So hopefully that's helpful for you. If you have any questions or you have any Spanish programs, I personally have appreciated the price point of the things that we have here. The books I all got secondhand or free. So the only thing I paid for full price, well, and even that was half off, was the Simple Languages. And then the Cherrydale Press book, I think I found for $15 on eBay or whatever. And so that was kind of the route I was going. Okay. Anyways, hopefully that's helpful. Talk to you later.